Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from MagooInvesting. Happy Monday. Today we're going to be continuing the Robinhood Top Stock series, and today we're going to be talking about Pinterest. This has been requested, and just something I thought I'd go over because on the chart it kind of looks like something that I'd be willing to take a position in. But the more you look at it, I'm going to explain why it's not something that's super attractive to me, and then kind of talk about what the analysts see so you can make your own decision from there. And before we go any further, obviously, I'm not a professional. I'd highly recommend talking to a licensed financial advisor, someone who can give you the best advice for your money going forward. So Pinterest is a social media company. It IPO'd on the stock market middle of April of this year. And since then, I think it IPO'd around $18 or $19, and it pushed up to $36, and recently had bad earnings, and someone lowered their price forecast on it and the stock fell. And so it briefly fell below its IPO level and it's slightly recovered since then. I think it fell down to $18.50 and now it's sitting around $20. And so if you've been on this channel at all, you'll probably have heard me talk about the three reasons that I take a position in a stock. First is it's a company that I know. Second, it's been recently hit by bad earnings. And third, there's a support that I'm watching. It builds a support at the level and then starts to push above it. And so Pinterest has done most of those things. The only thing that really gets me is kind of rule 1B that I don't talk about as much, is that you need to have confidence in the company. And so with Pinterest, I don't use it. It's one of those companies that I know it's popular. I know a lot of people use it. I'm pretty sure that the user base is more than 2/3 female, so I'm not the target demographic. But since I don't use it, I don't have a lot of confidence in it. And so if the stock continues to fall, I don't know if I'd be confident staying in it. Whereas, say we switch positions with this, and this was Twitter with the chart that we'll be looking at. That's something I use every day. I think it has great upside, and I'd be happy sitting in it and being down 15% because, I feel like it'll recover from there. But if I was in Pinterest, I don't think I could say the same thing. And so let's hop on over to the computer now and we'll talk about what I see on the charts for Pinterest, and then we'll go over and look to see what the professional analysts say about Pinterest going forward. So here we are on Robinhood taking a look at Pinterest. As you can see here, it's sitting just below $21, 50% hold, and 25,000 people owning the company. And so it's been pretty flat on the day, but when you go to the week, you'll see the bad earnings and the price cut. And so it went from being at $25 and it hit 19. So a lot of movement. 1 month, you can see that big drop is still hanging out there. 3 months doesn't look that great. And then you can see where it IPO'd. And so now when we go down here, we can take a look. Robinhood has a 45% buy, 50% hold, and then earnings. The earnings kind of looks good. This is another reason why I hate playing earnings. Because if you just looked at this and saw, oh, well, they beat the estimated earnings, that should be great. Well, apparently they missed on other reasons. And kind of the earnings call is the reason why the stock fell, not because the earnings per share were not as what they were expected. So just another one of my gripes with earnings. But now let's take a look on TD Ameritrade. So I'm going to go to the 4-hour, 180-day chart, my favorite chart. And when you look at this, it's kind of an interesting chart. This was a channel I played. I think I bought at 28 and then sold around 30, somewhere in there. Something that I played a while ago. But the first thing that's really catching my eye here is we are below the levels that we've seen on the charts before. And so as a technical trader, someone that uses the charts exclusively to make decisions on when to take a position, this is not good for me. For someone that does fundamentals and can see how well a company is running, this might be a perfect reason to take a position. But for someone that doesn't really care about the fundamentals, because I don't hold companies for years at a time, this is not looking good for me. It's hard to make a well-informed decision when you're kind of in no man's land over here. In the history of the company, since it IPO'd, it pushed up to $23, and we're sitting at around $21. So you can't look at prior experience or prior movement on the charts and think, oh, this is a good support level. It could possibly hold here. Part of the reason that I take positions on companies that fall after earnings is there's a solid support level set up. And if it breaks below that support, I get out. Here, there's no information for me to really go off of. It's just kind of speculating whether or not the company is going to go up or down. I drew a couple lines in here for potential zones for future trades, but until it pushes back up to around the $24 mark, I really do not feel confident taking a position in here. And so there is a pretty good possibility that if I took a position right here, it could go back up to there and recover a little bit. But you really have no idea. If I was already holding this and I liked Pinterest as a company, I would probably be adding my position here, lowering my average cost and just kind of holding it for a long-term play. But for someone that's sitting on the sidelines already, I would not be wanting to take a position in here right now. And so with that being said, let's head on over and see what the analysts have to say about Pinterest. So here we are on CNN looking at what their price forecast says. And kind of as expected, it's a very wide range. The high potential is $32. I'm pretty sure it was lowered from $38, which is the reason why the stock fell. Median $28 and low $14. So you have a lot of potential for profit if it goes back up to the $32 level, but they're also saying that the low end of the forecast is down 33%. And if this was a company that I loved and I was confident holding for long term, that wouldn't scare me that much. But for someone that's trying to hold for 3 months, does not provide a lot of confidence for me to take a position. Going to Yahoo Finance, they have it as a buy currently, but then for the short, medium, and long term, they all have it as negative. So it's hard to look at this and see a lot of pretty easy plays to take compared to when we go back and look at Twitter. The reason I took a position is you have all this track record where you can use as potential plays. And so I saw it fall down to this level where it's been a support recently, and that's why I took a position. When you go back to Pinterest, when it's fallen from these earnings, it kind of seems like a company that I'd want to take a position in. But when you don't have anything over here for me to look for support, it's going to have to consolidate here for a while for me to be confident to call it a new support and take a position in there. So I'll just keep this on my watch list. I'm curious to see what happens. This is another reason why I don't like taking positions in IPOs, because there's just not enough information for me to make a well-informed decision on where the potential could be going. So that's just kind of where I am with Pinterest, and I'm just going to be sitting on the sidelines for a while. So overall, Pinterest is a very interesting stock. It did very well after its initial IPO, but since it's IPO'd, its earnings have been not great. And with the bad earnings plus the cut in the price forecast, the stock has fallen to levels that it hasn't hit before. And so that's a huge problem for me, because as a technical trader, someone that needs the charts to be able to make informed decisions on where to take a position, when you get into the uncharted territory below the IPO level, I don't have anything to go off of. You're pretty much just speculating at that point. And since I don't like taking long-term positions in companies that I'm not super confident in, Pinterest is going to be a no-go for me. If I was super confident with the company and I used it a lot, I'd probably be pretty confident taking a position here and waiting for it to make a move. It seems to have built a nice little support after the bad news, but it's very possible that it could go down another 15-20%, and it's also possible that it goes back up to its all-time highs. It's just not something that I'm confident enough to play that type of risk. I think there are better opportunities in the stock market. That's the reason why I took a position in Twitter recently. Kind of a similar situation after bad earnings. But Twitter's been around longer, it's a company that I use daily, and I have a lot more confidence in it than I do in Pinterest. So let me know what you think about Pinterest in the comment section down below. Let me know if it's a company you use or it's a stock that you have on your watch list or you're currently owning. And if there's a company or an idea you'd like me to go over into a future video, please leave it in the comment section down below and I'd love to get to it. If you've been enjoying the series or you learned something, I really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.